Blessings to all. Welcome to Facts, Not Fiction. Join me this Thursday for another Facebook Live as we discuss why Keith Rowley treats the population this way. Yes, don't miss it. It's all about facts, not fiction. This Thursday, we start on time. Blessing to each and every one of you. Of course, welcome to Facts, Not Fiction. Today being Thursday would be just as any other Thursday where we bring the facts to you. And we want to welcome you locally, internationally. Those of you who continue to support the Monday Night Forum, Douglas Politics, and all the programs, we welcome you. Today, ladies and gentlemen, as I promised last week, that we would have an attorney at law to help you in relation to the discrimination situation with the school and the workplace and so on and so on, and that promise will be fulfilled just later on in the program. But today I want to get straight into it, and the hot burning topic, front burner, back burner, oven, fireside, firecracker, everything. The President of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago. Ms. Weeks, as the 6th President of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago, Ms. Weeks, this country's first female president. When her name was submitted as a nominee, Ms. Weeks held the position of Judge of Turks and Caicos Island Court of Appeal, a position she assumed on February 1st, 2017 for a 3-year term. Ms. Weeks, a former pupil of Bishop Anstey High School, Port of Spain, in 1980, she attained a Bachelor's of Law degree at the University of the West Indies, and this was the campus in Barbados. And in 1982, Ms. Weeks received a legal education certificate from the Hugh Wooden Law School. She was called to the bar in 1982. Ms. Weeks was employed as a state counsel, senior state counsel in the Office of the Director of Public Prosecution from 1982 to 1993, after which she entered private practice, engaged chiefly in criminal trial. In September of 1996, Ms. Weeks was appointed a judge of the Supreme Court of Trinidad and Tobago. Ms. Weeks was the 5th woman to be appointed a judge of the High Court in Trinidad and Tobago. She held this position until 2005, when she was elevated to a justice of appeal in 2016. From August 1st, ladies and gentlemen, straight down to 2012, August 1st, 11, straight to 2012, Ms. Weeks would act as Chief Justice of Trinidad and Tobago for the first time as the most senior of the judges in the jurisdiction. Ms. Weeks, as a trained and experienced judicial educator, having become a fellow of the Commonwealth Jurisdiction Education Institute in 2000, she has designed and developed programs extensively in Trinidad and Tobago and also in the Organization of Eastern Caribbean States and Jamaica over the years. Our president, ladies and gentlemen, on the 19th of March 2018, Ms. Paula Mae Weeks took the oath as the 6th president of Trinidad and Tobago. In the build-up to this process, ladies and gentlemen, she was elected by the Electoral College of our country. What is the Electoral College? The Electoral College is all of the members of the Senate and all members of the House of Representatives convened by the presiding officer, who would be the Speaker of our country. A quorum to the Electoral College will be 10 senators and 12 members of the House of Representatives, including the Speaker. This process to nominate our president will be done through the Parliament by secret ballot. Added to that, ladies and gentlemen, Miss Paula Mae Weeks, from her resume, this individual, it is one of the highly qualified individuals to hold the office of President in the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago. Why am I going all there? I am going there, ladies and gentlemen, to say to you that the constitutional crisis that we now found ourselves in this country, it have to be, ladies and gentlemen, that this situation was not by mistake, that this situation wasn't an error on behalf of the president, but it seems to me, ladies and gentlemen, that this whole constitutional crisis is a result of a conspiracy by our highly elected government officials. When you look at the qualification of our president, it is what we can consider the epitome of qualification in order to hold this office. When we look at what has happened in relation to the independent commission of the police service, it tells us that it had to be interfere, and then disappear. Interfere, and then disappear. Ladies and gentlemen, today we hear the ruling, or for a better word, we heard the ruling of Justice Kangaloo. When we examine what we have heard, ladies and gentlemen, we have no choice. We have absolutely no choice but to call for the resignation of the president, the prime minister, and every official who interfere with this independent situation, causing this crisis with our constituency in our country. I remember, ladies and gentlemen, that I wrote to the President Paula Mae Weeks with a situation in relation to the EBC. And I was asking the President to look into the situation where we have an ex-minister, a friend of the Prime minister niece within the EBC. Ladies and gentlemen, the president responded to me by way of email that she as president appoints, but when she appoints, she no longer have any jurisdiction to interfere. The president is on record saying to me by way of email that she has the authority to appoint these independent individuals. But after that process has been completed, she cannot interfere. But today, ladies and gentlemen, we have seen from a judgment that contrary to what the president had indicated to us in relation to the EBC, we have seen something totally different from the words the president uttered. Ladies and gentlemen, Section 3.5 of the Constitution deals with the president. Under Section 36, if he or she breaches the role, breaches the trust, willfully conspiring to interfere, how we ought to deal with it. Section 335A deals with willfully violating any provisions of the Constitution. It deals with the president willfully violating any provisions of the Constitution. 335B, it deals with behavior in such a way as to bring the office into hatred, ridicule, or contempt. 335C deals with the behavior in a way that endanger the security of the state. And 335D states because of any physical or mental incapacity, he or she is unable to perform the functions of the office, then we know how it must be dealt with. Ladies and gentlemen, from where I sit here this afternoon, I want to suggest to you that our president have broken every rule. Our president has now brought the office of presidency into disrepute. Our president seems to be mentally unstable as a result of the decision that our president took by allowing herself to be influenced by the political directorate in this country. This is the worst president that we have ever had in our country. A matter of fact, because of the behavior of our president, it now appears that every dog seems to be now urinating on the office of the president because of the behavior of the president. Ladies and gentlemen, we are in a crisis. This president must not appoint a member of any independent body, because so far my leader this week had to point it out where the president had on a list a supporter, a speaker of the People's National Movement who was going to be appointed on the Police Service Commission Board. We have seen the president appoint independent senators. And these independent senators, they have allowed the PNM members of parliament, they have allowed the prime minister, the attorney general, and every other minister to break the law, to breach our constitution simply by bills that needed a 3/5 and 2/3 majority. These independent senators passed those bills in the Senate. When we will expect that independent senators, they are there to look after the interests of the people of this country, lo and behold, the independent senators continue to look after the interests of the PNM government. When we tell ourselves that the independent senators, the 9 independent senators that was appointed by the president, when they will create the checks and balances, making up the numbers with the 7 opposition senators to ensure that justice, fairness, equity prevail in the interests of the people of this country, the opposition senators pass every single bill that the PNM government brought to the Senate, every single bill. Some of them collecting stipend on state board. Some of them involved in all kind of bacchanal. But my mother always tell me that, son, anytime you go to buy a fish and the head rotten, forget about the rest of the fish. It seems as though that today, ladies and gentlemen, that the president of Trinidad and Tobago is that fish that my mother used to tell me about. We have in this country a government that has no respect for law and order. We have a government in this country that cares nothing about you, the citizens. We have a government that in every policy that the Pharaoh decree is to bring you and to bring hardship upon you. This prime minister stood up by Pigot's Corner in Belmont and speak about Kamla Prasad Bisesa disrespectful. Well, that is the greatest oxymoron I ever heard. the greatest oxymoron I ever heard, the most disrespectful individual we have ever had, who holds the office of Prime Minister in this country, have the audacity to open his mouth and speak about the leader of the opposition disrespectful. When this Prime Minister opened his mouth, it is as though we open a sepulchre, because what comes out of his mouth in terms of disrespecting women, disrespecting children, disrespecting the office of Prime Minister, disrespecting the citizens of this country, Keith Rowley should be the last to speak anything about disrespect. You have said to women the most ridiculous. You have opened that mouth, Keith Rowley, and you have spewed out garbage upon our citizens. You have opened your mouth, Keith Rowley, and spew out hogwash on the citizens of this country. You have opened that sepulchre of yours and disrespect and try to disregard in every aspect in relation to the opposition leader, a former Prime Minister of this country. Keith Rowley, you have no shame. My little son saying down here, and when he see you on social media, he just flip it to a cartoon. He rather watch a cartoon than to watch you. You know why? Because you, as Prime Minister, you have not set any example in this country. You have not set any stage in this country for the young ones to follow Keith Rowley. You talk about who dog and who cat and who boots and who you Keith. You is a disgrace to that office that you hold. Added to that, Keith, when they question you, the leader of the opposition question you. Before I come to you, let me go back to the president. Madam Paula May Weeks, you look for that. You look for that. Former Prime Minister Kamla Prasad Bisesa, now opposition leader. She called out on you. She said, Madam President, clear the air. She said, Madam President, talk to the country. She said, Madam President, we have information. Madam President, save yourself. But let me tell you something. That Bishop Tea Party, that the leader, that my leader, the former Prime Minister, speak about in this country, it is a reality. Trinidad and Tobago, I want all you to hear this president. I want all you to hear what this president said in that ceremony when she was about to swear in. Producer, run that clip for me if you have it.
Madam Justice, may I invite you formally to take the oath of office.
I, Paul May Weeks, do swear by Almighty God that I will bear truth, faith, and allegiance to Trinidad and Tobago, and to the best of my ability preserve and defend the Constitution and the law, that I will conscientiously and impartially discharge the functions of President, and will devote myself to the service and well-being of the people of Trinidad and Tobago. before the date of assumption of any new position, the candidate had better be clear about the job description. With that in mind, I first looked at the Constitution, and while it outlined certain duties and functions of President, the office holder's role was not defined. So I moved on. Aided by memory, anecdote, and available material, I analyzed the leadership and decision-making styles of my predecessors in office. This rather unscientific research led me to the conclusion that it falls to each president to define, within prescribed limits, his, or in this case, her own role. After much deliberation, I identified my role as humble first servant with a mandate to render service with enthusiasm.
President, all you hear this woman, she swear to uphold the Constitution. She went as far as saying that, look, she going to ensure that she is about service. She took the time out to examine her role. She understood her responsibility. Ladies and gentlemen, you see how influence is a dangerous thing. Let me tell you something. You just send your children to school, and if you don't instill moral and spiritual values within your children during this period where they are exposed to all different types of elements within and out of the classroom, they are now exposed to different thought patterns, different thinking of individuals. They are exposed to every element within the school system. And if you don't train your children and instill values, they will footy well end up like this president. They will footy much end up like this president. You see, the whole Bishop and Stick Clan from Blissy Passad and Kewal Singh and the Rowley posse and the Camille Robinson Regis posse and the President posse, you see what does happen is when you allow yourself to be influenced, and worse, when you hear your friends and them in school know your secret, when you hear they know your secret, it is more dangerous. It is more dangerous to have them as friend than to have them as enemy. Because you see what happened in this whole scenario. It was friend versus better friend. And when you understand, or a matter of fact, if you does not understand that professionalism carries a responsibility, especially when you are in public life, you have a responsibility to demonstrate what is expected of you. Worse yet, when you are the protector, the guider of the Constitution, you cannot allow the politicians to interfere or to impair your judgment. Because to the end of the day, you have a responsibility as the president of this country to protect the Constitution from some of them wicked politicians. Your job is to protect our Constitution. guard that as your life. Because when you allow a prime minister of a country to flaunt and to break the rules which a country should and must govern by, then you are allowing the destruction of the integrity of the society. And when you allow the integrity of this society to be tampered with, to be interfered with, and you have a prime minister who loves power, you will eventually find yourself in trouble. And that is some of the things that a president ought to safeguard her or himself, and also to safeguard that document that we call the Constitution. You see, the Constitution is like a recipe to make a good cake. When you have a recipe book, anytime you go contrary in that recipe, you could never get a perfect bread or a perfect cake. If you go contrary to the Constitution, what you expect will happen, Madam President, if you allow yourself to be manipulated by a politician, what you expect will happen. If you don't rope in a politician, when you see a politician is going contrary to the document that we call the Constitution, then you must be held accountable. Your job is greater than the man who appointed you. Your job, Madam President, is greater than the individuals who voted for you. Your job, Madam President, is greater than your colleagues in Bishop Anstey. Your job, Madam President, is a job that is required, and that is why the Constitution is clear when it speaks about the separation of powers. You cannot allow your job to be contaminated, because it always have the Hitlers. It always have, a matter of fact, something now come back to my head. I said to y'all a few weeks ago that it is alleged that a by-election would be coming in Diego Martin West. Only remember that? I said it to y'all, you know. I said that there is a conspiracy, allegedly, that Keith Christopher Rowley may very well become the Prime Minister of this country. Weeks before, I said it to you. I said, ladies and gentlemen, it is alleged that Keith Christopher Rowley ambitions might fully well be that of becoming the president of this country. Well, let us wait and see if what is alleged, let's see if it happened. Madam President, I wonder if they set you up, girl. I wonder if it's a holistic plan, Madam President, that they put in place and trap you, because you know what? The other day I go down in my chicken pen. A rat lick up 11 chicken and 7 duck. Lick up 11 chicken and 7 duck. So I have to decide now how to catch this rat. I put cheese, no rat. I put one of the same chicken overnight, no rat. A partner of mine tell me, hey, cut a coconut that dry. It has something that Rowley wouldn't know about, right? They call it the coconut bread. You just get inside the coconut dry, especially them copra. When you cut it, it have a wrong thing inside it. As a young boy growing up, we used to like to eat that. A man tell me, get that. You could pass it in the heat and put it in the trap and see what happen. Well, you making joke. I couldn't put it in the trap fast enough. You know what happened? I caught the rat. Madam President, I am now wondering if the political directorate set the trap and they now catch the rat. Because, Madam President, let me tell you something. You is the laughing stock of this country. You is the well, no. You will now become the embarrassment in this country. You will be on every newspaper tomorrow morning. Every newspaper. But, as the saying go, how you make your bed is so you should lie, or you sure you must lie on it. So I come back to this next one right next to you. Because, Madam President, don't go too far, you know. Because very soon, he will have to follow. He will have to follow. This Prime Minister have hurt his followers. This Prime Minister destroy every aspect of sustenance for his voters. This Prime Minister who boasts, when the press asks him a question, he said to them, I do my job. He do his job. He do his job. But I want to say to you, ladies and gentlemen, that I am supporting what that Prime Minister said. Today, I am supporting Keith Christopher Rowley 100% on that statement. Because Keith Rowley continue to do his job. He do his job. And that is the reason why A&V will have to collect over $100 million as a result of a fake oil scandal. It's because he do his job. He do his job. That is why, ladies and gentlemen, that the NGC cannot give account for over $500 million. He do his job, and that is why the LNG, they can't give account for $700 million. He do his job, and that is why the chairperson, the leader of the Tobago House of Assembly, had to spend $2.5 million for a piece of rope. He do his job, and that is why Donna Cox is in the cabinet. He do his job. And that is why Gaspy Dolly is the energy, is the education minister. He do his job. And that is why Alan Toppin from Tobago is in the cabinet. He do his job. He does always do his job. And he do his job. And that is why the president in this bacchanal today, he do his job. And that is why we had Newman George selling fuel that went on a ship that ended up in Venezuela. He do his job. That is why he had Espany to lock down Petrotrin. He do his job. That is why Kwamena is the head of Petrotrin. And today, their partner have money to get. He do his job. And that is why Delcy Rodriguez, with a plane load of PDVSA officials, landed in Piaco Airport. He do his job. And that is why property tax coming on earlier. He do his job. And that is why cost of living is as high as ever. He do his job. And that is why we cannot have a proper road. He do his job. And that is why today, ladies and gentlemen, Trinidad and Tobago continue to suffer is because he do his job. That is the job he do. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, those in the ghettos, you know my language is a language for all you. You know my language is for all you to understand. This Prime Minister, this Keith Christopher Rowley, this Prime Minister is on a mission, is on a role to bring policies to this country that will further destroy your communities. This Prime Minister is not a Prime Minister with compassion for you who haven't a job. This Prime Minister lick up the employment sector, and then what he does is to bring policies and taxes that will further degenerate your family, further mash up your living, further destroy your children. This Prime Minister bring to the schools nothing but discrimination. This Prime Minister continue to force his will on you, the people. This PNM government collecting money from outside agency for every one of you who would take the vaccine. This government will collect money from those who die in this country from the said coronavirus. This government understands that the international community putting out millions upon millions of dollars for two things. For those who take the vaccine, don't feel you getting it, you know. Don't feel it coming in your pocket, you know. It's them collecting it, the government. They are the ones who benefiting from your demise. This government, this PNM regime, always benefit from the demise of the poorer class of people in this country. How long would you allow yourself to suffer, Beatum? How long would you allow yourself to suffer, Mova? How long would you allow yourself to suffer la hoketa? How long would you allow yourself to suffer Lavantil? How long would you allow yourself to suffer Point 14? How long would you allow yourself to suffer La Brea? How long would you allow yourself to suffer under a party who doesn't care about you? A party who doesn't have your interests at heart. A party that took away the laptops to educate your children under this pandemic. A party who continues to have you lining up for a hamper whenever they feel to give you one. A party who's saying to you that this hamper value your vote. A party, ladies and gentlemen, who ring you as old clothes that come out from a scrubbing board. A party who have you to soak in old soap water. A party who never take you, clean you up, and put the opportunities to ensure that you benefit moving forward in society. Put in policies that will help you to become young entrepreneurs. Put in policies in your community to help you to become tradesmen. Put in policies to help those of you who are slow in the secular industry. Put in policies in place in agriculture to help you to be self-sustainable in this country. This government has brought to the table policies and more policies to destroy your life and your livelihood. You just check back. You just go back. Go back to 5 years from 2010 to 2015. Go back to that 5 years. You examine your own conscience. Do not be persuaded by what I am saying to you. You judge from your own intellect, from your own mind, from your conscience. Allow your conscience to be your guide. And then compare that with 2015 to now. And you tell me what condition you are in. This government has brought you to the stage of a wretched condition. This government has brought you to a place where you have to steal and rob and kill to survive. It is because of the policies of this government. This government never ever wanted to stop gang-related crimes. This government, ladies and gentlemen, never wanted you to have a good home. This government never wanted you to have a business. You watch this government, ladies and gentlemen. You watch this government. Look at the class. Look at the class of people that this government assists to elevate to become great contractors. Look at the people that this government will put on state boards. Look at the people that this government will select to come to represent you. This government would not put somebody to represent you who understand your pain, who know the anger, who understand the hurt, who knows what you go through on a daily basis. This government will never give you a representative of your choice. This government will place a representative upon you, one who they can control, one who will vote on their policies. They don't care about you. This government continue to promise you ham, lamb, jam, but all you get from this government is bam bam, nothing else. That is what you get. How long would you would allow yourself to be destroyed by people who you believe is your people, by people who you believe have the same color of your skin, by people who you believe have the same texture of your hair, by people who you believe have the same blood that you have. I stopped by to let you know here this evening that this PNM government has the blood of a Dracula. They will suck your blood straight out your body and allow your carcass to fall by the side of the road. This government will suck your blood with a straw from out of your eye and still tell you to vote for them with the eye that have a little bit of blood. How foolish would you be to allow yourself to be manipulated by this administration? How much more would you take? Would you wait until you see your children, your babies start to die for starvation before you stand up and push back? How long would you wait before you push back? Ladies and gentlemen, I am asking you to wake up. I am asking you to wake up. Open your eyes. You have been sleeping for far too long. Open your eyes and see what is happening to you. Open your eyes. Watch around you. You're born in a plyboard house. You live in a plyboard house. You're almost ready to die in a plyboard house. That is what you want for your children. You want your children to suffer like you did and wait until they reach the age for a pension. Reach the age for a pension. That is what you want for your children. Do you not want to see your children elevated above you? The goal of Victor Roberts as a father, as a parent, is to see my children elevate and achieve more than me so that I can rejoice. I can be proud to say, those are my kids. What a good job that I have done as a parent. How many more of your children you will cry for? How many more mothers will bawl? How many more sisters will say, oh, you're too wicked? When the police kill the youths, how many more tears you want to share? I am saying that the time has come that we must stand united. We must stand as one people. We must stand and remove this evil, wicked, corrupted, thieving government that is now in office. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, now is not the time to play. Now is the time to stand. Watch what is happening in school. Watch what is happening in the workplace. Watch the segregation. Watch the discrimination. And today I have with me on the show tonight a permanent attorney who will help you to understand what is happening in relation to what the government is now mandating in this country in relation to the vaccinated and the unvaccinated. So without further ado, I want to welcome my good friend, my good attorney at law, and of course, I will allow him to introduce more of himself in relation to his profile. So without any further ado, my friend, welcome to the program.
Hi, good evening, Mr. Roberts. And let me say a good evening to Trinidad and Tobago. And good evening to the people of Brea. It's very nice to be down here. I don't think I've ever came down Brea in a very long time. And I want to say that, Mr. Roberts, being live in Brea is so exceptional. And my name is Brian Big. I'm an attorney at law. I have served within the United National Congress for the time being. I've been a former temporary senator. So I have been around. And I want to say, again, thank you for having me. It's been a great pleasure listening to you, listening to the passion that you have. And I want to say to the people of Brea, you all made a mistake. This man should have been your member of parliament. This man should have been in the parliament, speaking in the parliament. So I think you do a great job. Continue it. Thank you for having me. I know you have a lot of questions that you said the people of Brea have been having. And as I have always said, I'm more than willing to assist in whatever way I can. So I'm here at your beck and call, sir.
Right, so I want to welcome you to the show Facts Not Fiction. And ladies and gentlemen, last week I said to you that of course we want to have a clearer understanding, a better picture in relation to having a better knowledge as to how we should treat with the situation firstly at our schools, where the government is bent on having vaccinated children in the classroom against those who are not vaccinated, not being able to enter the school. So we want to have a clearer knowledge as to what the law say in relation to that situation.
Well, there is no law preventing a person from entering into a school unless you are a threat to that school in the form of you're a criminal or you come to attack that school. That is in no way a law, right? We must understand that the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago is governed by, as well as a constitution, which I must commend you, sir. You spoke very well of the constitution, even some sections that you called and you quoted some very good sections, some correct sections. You had me checking just to make sure that I had the right documents in front of me. So, are you a lawyer?
No, sir.
I think maybe you should become one. But nonetheless, under the Constitution of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago, we have sections 4, 5, and 6, among others, that deals with the fundamental enshrined rights of Trinidad and Tobago. Now, one such freedom, which is enshrined under our Constitution under Section 4, is the freedom of movement, right? That is under Section 4G. So you come now and you're telling parents, well, you keep your child home, but isn't there supposed to be an education? And we must understand what is happening. You're telling people to stay home, but do everything virtually, like how we are here. But you have to understand what is happening in Trinidad and Tobago society. You raised it very well, that we have a lot of people complaining they don't have access to laptops. They don't have access to tablets. And if they have access to it, they don't have connectivity. Because this government, clearly and truly, is not doing its job in even bringing that connectivity. So I can tell you, there are areas such as in Komoto Manzanilla, those areas, the connectivity is a problem. And I must commend the member of parliament for that area who is doing a good job in getting that representation. So, sir, if you want to do that, we look at foreign jurisdictions. England is doing it, right? Spain is doing it. But if you want to bring them into the schools, well, oh gosh, it is simple. Mask the children, socially distance them, because their education is important. So you're saying that they're not allowed in the school. I want to see the policy fit. The Ministry of Education has given no policy, right? And there's nothing. So anybody who tells you, well, there's a government policy, well, I would like to see it. Because there's none. As far as I am aware, there is none. I am open. I always tell everyone, I am open to be corrected. But if you're coming to correct me, come good. And so far, no one has come to say that, right? So it is, you see, also, it is harsh, because these schools are put into a no man's land. In that, should we do it, should we not do it, should we do it, should we not do it? And then you go to the Ministry of Education, I'm sorry, who is led by a minister whom, well, having a curricule, right? Right, on Diwali day. I say no more on that, right? And what she doing is wrong with that. Chicken, Diwali, wrong. I say no more. But when you come now, and you know the way they answer you, like you shouldn't ask them a question. Should we allow them? Should we not allow them? Well, we had COVID. People, don't blame COVID. Blame a very bad administration for doing what is wrong here. The law is quite clear. There's a freedom of movement under the Constitution. And that also, that freedom of movement allows your child to go to school. That is just one, right? You have the right to an education. So are you going to deprive that child of that right to education? The people of Labrador needs to be educated. Education is the key to come out of whatever system you may be in. So I hope this helps you in some way, Mr. Roberts.
So, brother, what you are saying is that there is no law that debars these children from going to school.
I am not seeing that. I have not seen any law. And I would love to see somebody show me a law on that. Right? I have not seen it. The law is here is clear via the Constitution of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago.
If these children, if a child should go to school, and then this child should be sent back by the principal, stating that they cannot enter the school, is there any form of redress that this parent can take?
Well, the principal should first say, well, why you're not allowed in the school? And then I'll ask, who say I can't come into the school? I want to see it in some form of writing, some form of memorandum that comes from the ministry that says, well, there's a policy that says X, Y, and Z. And if you show me that, there may be some form of legal redress. Because let me tell you something. One thing I tell people, the jurisprudence of Trinidad and Tobago works well. It might take some time, but it works well. And our jurisprudence showed today with the ruling of Justice Kangaloo. I just thought I'd throw that in.
Right. So parents, what I will say to you today is to prepare your child and send that child to school. Let the principal or whoever wishes to send that child back home, give them something in writing stating that the ministry, the education minister, the government said that they cannot enter the school because of X, Y, and Z.
Now, Mr. Roberts, let me say this as well. Vaccinations is not mandatory. The political leader of the United Nations has made it quite clear. She has taken her vaccine. I am vaccinated, right? It is a choice. And that as well is enshrined in the rights of our Constitution. You have a right of choice, a right to decide if you want to do it or not. If you decide not to do it, fine. But follow every guideline of our public health regulations. Like I said, mask them, have them socially distanced, make sure they're sanitized. Like I said, other jurisdictions are doing it. Then why can't we? We cannot have a country living in fear at all times, right? The government uses a term called vaccinate to operate. I have always said it is better to educate and then vaccinate. Educate your nation. We have all kinds of vaccine here. But educate your nation because there are so many issues, so many concerns. But educate your people. Tell them, well, why this vaccine is so and why this is like that. And if you are well educated in it, you will be able, of a sound mind, to give your own rational decision and say to take it or not to take it. I hope you understand where I'm coming from.
I also have some CPEP workers who continue to complain that the employer is stating that they must vaccinate to continue on the job. A matter of fact, the employer is saying that it's the policy of SWIPCOL. So they have to vaccinate to continue working. I have some of them in Labrie proper who home at this time as a result. What advice would you...
Well, again, employers have to understand. Now with CPEP, the employer is a contractor, correct?
Yeah.
That contractor will employ persons. Now if SWIMCOG gives a policy for contractors, again, where did they get their policy from? Who gave the rights to this policy? Also, the president of the industrial court made it quite clear. She made it quite clear that employers cannot force persons to take a vaccine, right? You cannot force persons. Again, that is infringing on my right to choose, right? And then what? You're going to send me home? No problem. There's something called the Industrial Relations Act. There's something called a union. There's something called the OSH Act as well, where there are stipulations under the Occupational Safety Health Act. You understand? Like how they say you have to go and pay for your own PCR test. Yeah. People need to learn Trinidad and Tobago. Read your laws. The OSH Act is quite clear on who pays to those things. It's not you, it's the employer. And I see these employers don't want to do that, you know. They want to keep the money in their pocket but make you suffer. Wrong. And that is the thing. If you think you have been wronged by that, I strongly tell persons, you need to seek redress, and if you seek redress, immediately. And that's a fact.
Would you want to give the greater public probably a number to contact you in relation to if they are seeking any form of representation in any one of those situations?
Well, I am always willing, I'm always available. My number is 772-9794. Anybody in the UNC don't know me, something wrong.
Yeah.
Joke. But outside of that,
792
772
97
94. Right? People need to also understand you have rights. And don't let nobody trample on your rights. Okay? Because if you don't stand up for your rights, then you will let anybody stand up on you. Okay? There are many persons come to me with these things. And we are able to guide immediately. They seek their redress. And I tell all persons, do not be afraid. I know a lot of people are afraid to stand up because they're afraid they'll lose their job with what's happening now. But again, it is your choice. If you want to take a vaccine, take it. If you don't want to take a vaccine, that is your choice. All right? It is up to you to do it.
So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. The choice is yours. You want to take the vaccine? You take the vaccine, you're still my friend. You don't want to take the vaccine? Your choice, you're still my friend. But do not allow anyone to force you. And of course, I am quite aware that under the Industrial Relations Act, the employer is the one who have that responsibility to send you to get those tests. But we will speak more of that at another time.
Well, it's more the OSH Act will more help with that.
OSHA.
The OSHA Act will more help with that, right? But you see, also, Mr. Roberts, we must understand that people are just not educated. And again, that's why I said, educate to vaccinate. So if a nation understands what's going on, they understand, well, why I should take it or why I should not take it, why this is good or why this is not good. There will be no issues. There will be no problems. But you see, you have a government, and it all comes back to the government. Yeah. You have a government who is instilling in you this kind of fear that if you don't take it, you will lose your work. If I may say it like that, yeah. Right? If you don't take it, your child can't go to school. If you don't take it, you can't go on a bus. If you don't take it, you can't go and watch a movie. I mean, imagine, you're telling persons, children under 12 cannot go in. Well, guess what? You can't vaccinate children under 12. So, I mean, you use the word oxymoron. Well, I'm sorry. The man who said it is an ox as well as a moron. Right? I mean, it's just ridiculous. And then you are telling a family, you have a son, you have a little boy, a new movie come out. Daddy, I want to go and see the show. Well, boy, you're under 12, you can't go. Right? What happens there? Right? You want to go and, you feel you want to go somewhere. You can't even enter a place. And you know, this so reminds me, Mr. Roberts. 1939, Warsaw, Poland. Our history repeats ourselves all the time. Right? Nazi Germany invaded Poland in 1939. When the Nazis took over Poland, they rounded up all the Jews. They put them in ghettos. And they put ghettos here, Jews only. Everybody else, good. So you know, as a Jew, you have to wear the Star of David on your arm. Now you are telling persons in this country, well, guess what? You have to walk with a V to show you're vaccinated. So what happens there? Are we now in modern day Nazi rule by doing that? I mean, I get that, fine. Let us go back to apartheid. Again, our history is repeating ourselves. In apartheid, Nelson Mandela had to walk with a pass to walk on the street. You know what he did? He burned those passes. Mahatma Gandhi, Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi, better known as the Mahatma, when he had to walk in certain parts of same South Africa, you know what he did? He picked up and take the same passport and he burnt it. Right? Because you can't restrict movements of persons. And again, it comes back to our constitution as to why we are here today. You are restricting the freedom of movement. You are telling me I can't step in this grocery because I'm unvaccinated. So how am I going to buy my bread? And you imagine how much bread is now. I can't buy sugar. I can't buy flour. I can't buy potato. What you have to do? You have to beat somebody and say, boss, you could go and buy a bag of bread for me, please? Thanks. And that man might take your money, pocket it, and he walking outside. When he see you, it had no bread by and keep walking. And you lost your money. If you understand the analogies, right? And that is wrong.
And what I'm yet to understand is that the government is saying that they would not force teachers who doesn't want to take the vaccine to take it. But yet you're saying our children must be vaccinated to go to school, but you also have unvaccinated teachers teaching the vaccinated children. What's the logic? Again,
you see, you're saying one thing and another thing. So you're saying to the teachers, well, all right, you do have to get vaccinated, go and teach. But you're telling a student before he comes to school, you can't come in. Yeah. So who's the difference? I mean, again, you use the word oxymoron. Well, I'll say it again. The persons who said that, one is an ox and the other one definitely is a moron.
Yeah. And this. I am yet to understand what the government. Well, let me take back that. I think I understand what the government, what they really want to achieve in this country. I think that the government is in a place where they know that apart from crashing the economy before COVID-19, they know for a fact that the country is heading downhill. And I believe that they understand that people will rebel. And I think most of the policies that the government put in place is to restrict that great movement, that great expectation that they know would take place in the absence of these policies.
Mr. Roberts, we already have one major way of restricting the movement of persons. We are currently under a state of emergency, where there's a curfew from 10 p.m. to 5 a.m. So you're already restricted there, right? You have public health regulations that says you can't be in this place and have 5 people or 10 people or more than that, right? So you have to stand up outside because you're at capacity and you have to wait, right? We have some very archaic, draconian way of doing these things, because you have to understand as well, even under the same constitution, I want to take you to subsection F, and I'll read it for you. The right of a parent or a guardian to provide a school of his own choice for the education of his child or ward. So a parent has a right to educate his child and a school of their choice. So this is school of their choice. They're doing their fundamental right by educating their child. But now you're telling your child he can't come inside. I mean, come on. There are ways of dealing with this. And I mean, we have so much things that is being done in this country where you have safe zones now.
I'll take your closing comments one time.
Oh, okay.
May producer again my signal.
All right, but let me just close by saying this, that under the Constitution, you have enshrined rights. Under the Constitution, you have enshrined freedoms. Under the Constitution of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago, you have rights to operate by. As I say, vaccinate. You want to say vaccinate to operate? Learn your Constitution and operate. Learn it. And you will know how to operate. All right? Educate yourselves as well. Again, I'm not against taking the vaccines. If you want to take it, it's your choice. It is your right. Right? If you have been affected by it, you have the right of the courts to go to. As I said again, our jurisprudence is exceptional. It may take a little while, but we get there. I want to say thank you very much for having me. I hope I was able to edify the people of Brea. It's a wonderful time to come down here. I remember the last time I came here, it was for an election campaign. I think when you're going back, I think I need to come and campaign with you. People of Brea, you made a mistake. Put this man in the parliament if he goes back. Eh? I thank you. And I want to thank my political leader, Honorable Kamala Prasad Bisesa. Today, ma'am, you were exceptional. You put the points across exceptionally well. And I am saying, Trinidad and Tobago, we are under a constitutional crisis with the People's National Movement, and it is time to remove the PNM and return the UNC and Kamala Prasad Bisesa to office. I thank you.
And with that, we out.
Okay. Are we on sound check? Are we on? Are we going live now? Yeah. Good day, everyone. Thank you very much for coming, joining us today. With respect to the landmark judgment delivered by the Honorable Justice Kangaloo in our Supreme Court, the High Court of the Supreme Court. And I say today, the Constitution has strength in Trinidad and Tobago, in spite of all the machinations, in spite of all the conspiracy theories with respect to several matters which I will raise with you today. So thanks again, and we're very happy to welcome you here in these very difficult times. For the past few weeks, our country has been plunged into a crisis which extends to the very heart of our democracy. The government has launched an unprecedented assault on independent institutions of our country. One of these is the TTPS, the fiasco which has been seen the complete collapse of the Police Service Commission is a stain that will forever mark our very young republic. Today, we see that three of the highest offices in our land, that of the President, that of the Prime Minister, that of the Attorney General, are all entangled in actions that may amount to misconduct in public office. Her Excellency the President, the Attorney General, and the Prime Minister all have serious questions to answer over this matter. Instead of doing their duty and accounting to the people, these three public office holders have preferred to all ignore that sacred duty. They have been ably aided and abetted. They have been ably aided and abetted by the former Police Service Commission's chair, Madam Bliss Prasad. The country has now been plunged into a constitutional abyss. It is as though a constitutional atomic bomb has exploded, resulting in a nuclear governmental meltdown. The three individuals sought to build a wall of lies to obstruct the nation from getting to the truth. Well, today, the High Court delivered a blow that has now destroyed the wall of governmental lies. This blow from the High Court strikes right at the heart of the Office of the President, the Office of the Attorney General, and the Office of the Prime Minister. McDonald's Jacobs' acting appointment comes to an end midnight tonight. Well, today, he no longer sits in that office. The court has ruled the 2009 order under which he was appointed is null and void. So there will be no Commissioner of Police for this country at a time when murders and serious crimes is back on the rise, with 4 murders yesterday. This will be the first time in history that we will have no top cop or no acting top cop. I want us to spend a little detail examining what occurred and the stream of events that has led us to where we are now. The High Court, in a landmark judgment delivered today by Madam Justice Kangaloo, made several critical rulings as follows. The Police Service Commission acted illegally when it purported to appoint Mr. Gary Griffith to act as Commissioner of Police without seeking the approval of the nation's Parliament. The President breached the Constitution when she failed and or refused to issue the relevant notification to Parliament after the list of suitable candidates was delivered to Her Excellency by the Commission by way of a letter dated 12th August 2021, and that letter stated, nomination to act as Commissioner of Police, Trinidad and Tobago Police Service, Ministry of National Security, I'm still quoting, pursuant to Section 1234 of the Constitution, 123, subsection 4 of the Constitution, the 2021 Order of Merit List for the Office of Commissioner of Police shall be submitted to Your Excellency. Mr. Griffith's acting appointment was unconstitutional and illegal and has been declared null and void and of no legal effect. Let's go back to the roots of this crisis. In July 2021, the Attorney General made yet another amendment for the selection process for Commissioner of Police. This order removed the requirement for the Police Service Commission to retain an independent firm for the recruitment process. The UNC objected to this order, and through Senator Wade Mark, moved a motion in the Senate to annul the 2021 selection process order. Senator Mark, on the 5th of July, as leader of opposition business in the Senate, moved that motion, and the motion was defeated by the PNM's parliamentary majority. It is instructed to also note on the vote on this motion in the Senate that all the president's men and women, that is 9 independent senators, voted together with the PNM, making 23 of them in the Senate voting in favor of the order. Therefore, the motion to annul the 2021 order was negative. That is, it did not succeed. Then we move along. We say that the AG has lost all credibility and must be removed. Contrary to the public rantings by AG Al-Rawi that there was no challenge to the constitutional validity of these 2 legal orders, it is clear that the court has invalidated and struck down both legal orders, 2021 and the 2009 order. They were both drafted, tabled under a PNM administration, both the 2009 order and the 2021 order. Mr. Jacob McDonald was appointed to act under the 2009 order, which has now been declared null and void. This judgment vindicates the position that we have taken on this matter. The judgment means that both the 09 order and the 21 order, selection process orders, were ultra-vires, illegal, and unconstitutional. I would like to remind you of the arrogance and the pompous words of A.G. Faris to defend the shoddy order which he drafted and brought to the Parliament in July 2021. And I quote here, "I respectfully don't think there's any complication or error on the part of the Police Service Commission. Having had the benefit of the process of drafting it," this is the AG, quoting from his Hansard in the Parliament when the motion was brought. "Having had the benefit of the process of drafting it, amending it, updating it into law, I am quite clear in my mind that the process has been correctly carried out. AG Faris must now resign. How many serious legal matters must Faris lose before the Prime Minister accepts the fact that Faris is unfit to hold this office? He no longer has any credibility, and that, coupled with all his alricruisers and his rentals, and coupled with this illegal indemnity that he signed with Mr. Nelson, all of these we say that he must resign. He has no credibility, and the public cannot have the confidence and trust in him as the guardian of the public interest, as the person who looks after the welfare and the interests of the public. We do not have that trust. We cannot after all of this has happened. So I have put here an article from the Newsday where Faris was very pompous and saying that a member of the public had come into the issue raising a matter about this 2021 order and its validity, and Faris very pompously, struck that down, said nothing is wrong with it, all is fine. This is in fact the second time a legal order he has made pertaining to the appointment of a Commissioner of Police has been the subject of adjudication. I can speak about that first time because I was one of the lawyers leading the charge in the case of Haridat Maraj and the Attorney General of Trinidad and Tobago, where I led a team of lawyers to challenge the fact that Al-Rawi had inserted the Minister of National Security in this election process, which by law could only be exercised by an independent service commission. The High Court then ruled that this was illegal because it subverted the independence of the Constitution and declared that there was an unjustifiable and unlawful fetter upon an interference with the independence, jurisdiction, and functions of the Police Service Commission. So more questions and answers have arisen. As I said, when a member of the public raised this matter in the public domain, I think it was a Mr. Dave Passad, Faris slapped him down. Nothing, no merit, nothing in that. This is a great order. It's all well and fine. Well, today the court has said, Faris, you are wrong. You are very wrong. That order is not valid. Several issues have surfaced, leaving more questions and answers. I want you to note that Mr. Corey Harrison, Director of Personal Administration Acting, it seems that we have a lot of actors. In fact, I'm told we have an Academy of Actors in the TTPS. For years, they only had one acting DCP, Mr. Jacob, and that was only last year, August, he was appointed. So for years, you had no DCPs, when you should have had about 3, and all the others who are there now are acting persons. So a lot of actors and acting going on because of the failure to do your job by some officials. So Mr. Harrison, acting DP of the Service Commissions Department, filed a sworn affidavit in this case, the case of Ravi Balgo bin Maraj versus the Attorney General, and I think Mr. Gary Griffith joined in the matter. He, in that affidavit, dated on the 27th day of September 2021, at paragraph 7, he indicates that the Commission had completed its election process by the 9th day of August 2021. The affidavit will be attached and shared with you now. What this means, as at the 9th of August, in his affidavit, he gave a timeline of what they did to fill the vacancy that would have arisen when the appointment of Gary Griffith, the contract, expired. On the 9th of August, take note of the date, this year,